Well, I drag writers and producers on American soaps all the time because they deserve it too much. But today I must drag Jane Hudson, the producer of Emmerdale, because Emmerdale finds itself in last place in my soap opera rankings, the very last place, because for July 2022, Emmerdale has not only had bad writing, but it's back to being the most boring of all 11 soap operas in my rankings for the month. Look, there's a lot of bad writing going on in the soap operas this summer, to be honest. Most of them, I would say, have a lot of bad writing going on. But what made me have to put Emmerdale at the very bottom is, yes, it has bad writing, like a lot of them, but it's also just extremely boring. So I decided to go with the most boring soap opera for the month in last place. Over the last couple of months, since the Mina storyline ended, I've been saying that I felt like the writing was maybe getting better. The show was a little more watchable, but that all quickly fell apart in July. I'm going to go over a lot of different stories here and just point out why I think they all are very boring, and that's why I think Emmerdale deserves to be in last place. And we are going to start with Victoria and David, because I feel like this couple has hit a complete wall ever since the actress and the actor, got in trouble backstage. There was a little racist row in the back because somebody did an accent, I believe. Regardless of the reason, once these two went away and came back, all chemistry was lost, and any kind of momentum for this couple was lost. So now we have like financial problems for David that Victoria wants to fix by selling the farm to Mora, and I don't think longtime viewers want this to happen. The farm to be sold. It's an Emmerdale staple. So I mean, I guess that's the stakes in the story, because I don't think the relationship has any real stakes other than the fact that these two are boring. So Victoria and David, snooze material. Very just take a nap. We had Charles trying to track down his daughter for a few episodes of Emmerdale. I didn't find this out at all exciting because the writing for Charles is just too inconsistent. We don't see Charles enough for me to connect with this story. And frankly, the same goes for Liv. I feel like the Liv story, the writing in the story is just it's so basic. Liv's mother, who's a mess up, comes back and kind of just to get money out of her, and we're supposed to feel sorry for Liv, and I mean, I kind of do, but I'm not that into the story. It's just one of the many stories on this show that I'm not feeling. I wanted to be into Nicola's PTSD, but the writing let us down again. They've been majorly inconsistent with this story as well. One day, for several days, Nicola's going through it with her PTSD, and then a few days later, she's just chipper and ready to go and happy. And I don't know if they've just already dropped the story, because that's something Emmerdale does. They'll write a story for a month or two, and then it's already over. I don't know if that's where we're going with Nicola, or if there will be more, but I found the writing for this story also inconsistent. Faith dying of cancer. I can't get into this story because of how much I hate Kane. The character of Kane just never will grow enough for me. I get how this fits his character, I do, but what it comes down to is I just don't like the character of Kane. So Kane being all annoying in the story, and the story, half of the story becoming about Kane taking his emotional issues out on Faith, who's dying of cancer, doesn't do anything for me. I don't hate Al and Chaz becoming fuck buddies. They're fuck buddies now, instead of getting into a relationship, because that's what Chaz wants. She wants to only be fuck buddies with Al as she goes through the grief of her mother dying of cancer. I don't hate that part as much, but overall, the story is more fast forward material for me because of Kane most of the time. So the Layla drug story, at least I don't want to fast forward this. That's the best that I can say for the Layla drug story. Unlike a lot of these other stories that I find just want to hit the fast forward button, why even watch it? Because the writing I find to be so weak and boring. But some of this, I mean, Susie, the character of Susie, can be very annoying. And I thought maybe she was leaving for good, but she wasn't. She came back. Liam's been concerned about Layla, but it's really David who ends up finding Layla doing coke, and now she wants him to hide it. I'm recording this before the last week of episodes of July, and I still feel like at least this story is more entertaining, kinda, but not enough for me to like commend it. I still think the writing for this story has already been weak. I mean, I guess grief is why Layla turned to drugs, but she went in whiplash speed to full-on coke whore in the first place. So her becoming this big cokehead was like a sped-up storyline, but now, of course, in soap opera fashion, it's being drug out. We'll see where it goes, but it's not a good enough story for me to not have Emmerdale in last place. And same goes for Amelia's pregnancy, because I don't really know if I want to watch Amelia in a teen pregnancy storyline. I don't know if I care if Noah or Samson are the father. I know the teens had that party a few months ago. We never saw Amelia sleep with anybody, so it must have been something that happened drunkenly that night. It seems like a lot of people think it's Samson's baby, but they've been testing Amelia and Noah, with Amelia visiting Noah in prison. Overall, the story doesn't hit for me either. I'm going to give this story a chance because I like to give the teen stories a chance on all of these soap operas because they're young and they're fresh and you could do a lot with them. But I have zero interest in a teen pregnancy story. So Emmerdale swinging and missing with this one as well. Lastly, the last story to talk about, I found the most, this is the story I watched the most. This is the story I didn't fast forward a lot, and that was Dawn's friend dying, Beth, and Dawn wants to take care of Beth's daughter, Clemmy. I think the actress that plays Clemmy, a young actress, doing a hell of a job, for real. She's doing a hell of a job. The story is that Harriet basically betrays Dawn by calling social services. They want to take Clemmy away because of all the grief that's going on between all of them. And Dawn's very upset with Harriet. Harriet, who has always felt like she has tried to be a mother to Dawn, but Dawn's so upset with Harriet, including saying she doesn't understand this because Harriet's never been a mother. That hurts Harriet's feelings. It's still not that strong of a story, but compared to everything else, I think it's because of the acting in this story. I think the acting in this story has been the best of the month. And I think that's why it was the most watchable of the month. But overall, Jane Hudson has failed the month of July. She's failed since I've really been doing these soap opera rankings for going on 10 months now, because Emmerdale's never been that high in my rankings. It's mostly been towards the bottom, and now it's at the very bottom because not only is the writing weak, inconsistent, downright stupid sometimes with the Mina shit, but now this show is just completely the most boring soap opera of the 11. And so that's why Emmerdale will be in last place for the month of July. There's a lot of bad writing on a lot of these soaps, like I said, so they can get out of this going into August. But for now, I had to put Emmerdale in last place because I can't find one story really worth putting it up in my rankings. Like the Dawn, Harriet, Clemmy story, it's okay. It's the best on the show because of the acting, not because I find the writing that great. But yeah.